In today's video, I want to go over some more updates about next generation. Specifically, Xbox is saying that they're going to match the PlayStation 5 in price and power, and that's coming directly from Microsoft. And how this contributes to PlayStation 5, well, it's rather interesting, and I'll go over that. Also, PlayStation 5 games development is proceeding smoothly. Sony expects highly engaging gameplay experiences. So we'll once again run the gambit of the PlayStation 5 news, and also a couple of games I want to cover. West of Dead is a game that was announced at XO19, but as I mentioned earlier, even though it was an Xbox event, there were a lot of third-party games showcased, and West of Dead is one of the compelling ones that I really want to go over. And before we get into everything, I just want to remind you guys to make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so you are always notified of uploads, and that definitely helps out the channel too, so we always appreciate that. Alright, first up, the next Xbox is going to be matching the PlayStation 5 in price and power. Speculation surrounding Sony and Microsoft's next-generation consoles continue to grow, and although we know a decent amount about the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox, there are still a number of key questions that need to be answered, and one of the biggest questions is definitely the price point. Price point is something that before a console or a new platform comes out, we are just going to talk about over and over again, because it's become abundantly clear that if a console wants to perform well, and we've seen it over and over again, that the price point has to be well on point. In the case of the PlayStation 3, that $599 US price tag really held it back, and then they remedied things with the PlayStation 4. They released it at $400, and of course there were a lot of reasons why the PlayStation 4 beat the Xbox One handily, but part of that was the price point. I mean, Xbox One came out and you had to buy it with the Kinect, and that was a steep $500 price point, and even with it just being $100 more than the PS4, I feel like that was one of the elements that really gave the PS4 an upper hand. Also, you have to contribute to the fact that the marketing of the Xbox One was absolutely butchered, and Xbox One was fighting an uphill battle well before the launch of the console, so there are a bunch of factors as to why this generation the PS4 handily beat the Xbox One, but going into next generation, a lot more factors are going to come into play. But the price is going to continue to be one of the main elements. We're not going to have official confirmation until some point next year, but Xbox boss Phil Spencer is already hinting that his company's device will go toe-to-toe with the PS5. Quote, "We will not be out of position on power or price." So him saying that makes me think that the next Xbox is going to be released at a similar price point to the PlayStation 5. And the thing is, now all of the information, I feel like going into next generation, these companies and console manufacturers know what resonate with the audience. I didn't know why they didn't know that going into last generation, but maybe that's because so many of them were trying new things. They were trying Kinect, they saw the success of the Wii, they saw how well that sold, and Microsoft did try to go the gimmick route, but ultimately you do have to build the fundamental base with the hardcore gamer. You have to appease them, and then you try to branch out and bring the casuals on board as well. That's how you have to go about it, and you have to draw the hardcore gamer in with a compelling price point and also a batch of compelling games, neither of which, to be perfectly honest, the Xbox One had for a long time. Initially, the Xbox One released at $500, and the game lineup was just not there. There were a few good games here and there, but man, from an exclusive standpoint, PlayStation 4 absolutely destroyed the Xbox One, but obviously Microsoft became well aware that that wasn't going to fly next generation, and that's why they've been in acquisition mode. They've acquired all of these studios. They're prepping up games like Halo Infinite for the launch of the next Xbox. I think more so than ever with both of these companies, they are going to try, unlike last generation, to deliver you a high-quality launch lineup right out of the gate. Launch lineup for this generation of consoles, I'm sorry, it just was not very good. The PlayStation 4 had Killzone Shadowfall and Knack. Killzone Shadowfall was colossally disappointing in my opinion, and Knack wasn't very good either. On the Xbox side of things, I believe we had a new Forza and we had Dead Rising 3. The Forza was great. Memory serves me correctly, I believe it was Forza 5, but Forza is only going to cater towards a specific amount of people, and then Dead Rising 3 wasn't something to really write home about. Rise Son of Rome wasn't a very good game. I think the imperative going into next generation is you have to deliver a high-quality, compelling lineup of titles right out of the gate. I'm not saying you have to deliver us 6, 7, 8 exclusives on day one. However, I would implore these console manufacturers to deliver 2 high-quality exclusives on launch day. For Sony, I've been speculating, but I do think that's going to be a Horizon 2 and a Demon's Souls remake. That's what I would do for a launch lineup if those games are in development, and it looks like Horizon 2 is in development, and Demon's Souls, I don't know if that's in development, but I'm led to believe that it is, and I think that would do wonders for the PlayStation 5's launch, and you round that out with a bunch of other third-party titles. In the case of Xbox, we know Halo Infinite. you've got a bunch of other studios as well. Unfortunately, a lot of the studios right now, a Ninja Theory's making Bleeding Edge. I don't think that's going to be the type of game that resonates with a lot of people. Microsoft has really failed at creating those big budget experiences that are seen as some of the best games in the entire industry. I don't feel like they've done that. Gears 5 was pretty good, but it never hit that tier of an Uncharted 4, a Marvel Spider-Man, a God of War. It's not quite at that level, and Microsoft has had a really hard time making games at that level. What do we have going into 2020? We have games like Grounded, we have games like Bleeding Edge. Those games are just not going to compete with a Horizon 2, a Ghost of Tsushima, a Demon's Souls remake if that comes to fruition. I feel like Sony has a big advantage in that regard, but we'll see how ultimately things shape up in the very near future. I imagine we're going to see a lot of announcements very soon. Alright, so enough rambling on that. I do also want to quickly mention that during Sony's quarterly financial conference call, and that happened last month, Hiroki Totoki spoke about the upcoming PS5 and a little bit more. He noted that the PlayStation 5 in the holiday season 2020 is, quote, the most important step in developing the PlayStation platform. He also added that development of PS5 is progressing according to plan by saying, quote, we anticipate providing highly engaging gameplay experiences that both current users of PS4 and potential new users have come to expect. On that same conference call, he did also note that PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus are doing incredibly well. PlayStation Now has garnered a lot more subscriptions, and that's probably going to parlay into next generation as well. And we know with next generation, that's going to be a big element to Microsoft's game plan as well, with Game Pass offering full streaming. Game Pass really is going to be much better than PlayStation Now when you look at the game offerings, how easy they are making it accessible to everyone. Sony needs some work there. However, I think ultimately the driving factor on how well these consoles do, at least from the get-go, is 1, the game lineup, 2, the price point, and I think from a price point standpoint, they're going to be very similar. I think from a power standpoint, they're going to be very similar, so what ultimately sets them apart from one another is going to be the games lineup, and based on what we know, you just have to be more confident in Sony offering a compelling games lineup rather than Microsoft, but we'll see how all that turns out. Alright, next up, XO19 just happened, and I do want to talk about a really interesting game that was announced at XO19, and this was a game that was announced here. However, it will be a multi-platform title, and that is West of Dead. A dark action game, West of Dead, has been announced at XO19, and open beta has also launched today. However, that's on Xbox One. On stage at XO19 in London, the fast-paced twin-stick shooter West of Dead was revealed to the world. The game takes place in Purgatory, a place of gunsmoke and darkness, sin and damnation, wendigos and witches. The Wild West has never been this dark. Ron Perlman, Hellboy, and Sons of Anarchy, Sons as the voice of the main protagonist William Mason, a dead man awakened with only the memory of a figure in black. His existence sets into motion a chain of events that have truly mythic consequences. No one said dying would be easy. Thrown into the unknown, procedurally generated hunting grounds of Purgatory, your skills will be put to the test as you shoot and dodge your way through the crime and grit of the underworld. West of Dead evolves the twin-stick shooter with tactical cover usage. Find out if you have what it takes to get through Purgatory with your soul intact. Right now, the open beta is available on the Xbox One, and you can get a piece of the action right away. The beta will run until November 25th, so you can jump in that if you do have an Xbox One. The game itself looks super slick, super stylish, and it's one game that definitely stood out to me. I thought XO19 was a little bit of a disappointment. I was really expecting some marquee announcements, and yes, we saw Grounded. However, that wasn't really captivating to me. But West of Dead was a game that really stood out to me from a visual standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint. It just looks like a very slick game. It's not like one of those big budget titles that maybe you expect out of major conferences. However, it is a game that looked rather engaging. It looked rather compelling. It looked unique, if nothing else. And I do implore developers to try something a little bit different. With a lot of games these days blending in with one another, at the very least, you can say that West of Dead really stands out from its contemporaries. And at the very least, that's something to get excited about. Again, I imagine that the game will be releasing sometime in 2020. And outside of the Xbox One, it will be coming to PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So there you have it with that. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, the next Xbox is going to be matching the PlayStation 5 in price and power. That's coming directly from Phil Spencer. And I imagine that ultimately the price is going to be around $400 to $500. I think anything more than that for the base console would just be too much. And honestly, $500 is probably pushing it a little bit too much. Let us know in the comment section down below what you guys would like to see the price at. PlayStation 5 games development is proceeding smoothly, and West of Dead has been announced that that'll be coming to the PS4 in 2020, a game that I definitely recommend you guys to keep your eyes on. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.